Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Nikki, and today I have with me.
Hi, my name is Sagar. My pronouns are they, them. I'm the vice president of MPASA, which is the Master of Public Administration Student Association.
So, what is it that your club stands for, and what does it do?
So basically, the Master of Public Administration Student Association is a major club. So our major takes care of the needs of the people within the program. We help them figure out how to go on with their career points, figure out things to get them settled in the program. Like we're hosting an event on the 29th on how to help with your library resources and to get more acquainted with college in itself, and just getting by. Yeah.
So, I've heard that you also help with internships. Is that correct?
So we definitely will help. We're trying to set up like career fairs and like network and help people as much as they can, like we can as well. And we would be able to help connect people to the career center.
What have been some difficulties that your club members have talked about and voiced to you?
So we are basically a baby club. We are unfamiliar with our previous e-boards or our connection to like the previous clubs because this MPASA has not been active for the previous years. So we don't know anything right now.
Starting up again.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what's some things you want to refocus on with your club?
We are going to do so many things because no one knows about us. So we're just going to try to make sure that we expand as much as possible. Like, yes, this is for master's students, but we want to help undergrad students as well because everyone's searching for jobs. No one knows what they're doing. So, yeah.
So, for a lot of people, it's genuinely hard to find an internship. What ways besides networking do you tend to help your members obtain internships or find out about the internship process?
So, I mean, they would network through us and figure out how we got our internships or fellowships or anything along those lines. I know especially that it's difficult to try to find an internship or anything via the internet because that is the worst place. You're just like thrown to the wolves, and you apply to places that seem like, okay, maybe I can fit all the requirements, but it's so competitive because it's a public forum. So it's easier if you have guidance and you're not just thrown into it, because I am the first generation that's going to college and I understand how confusing everything is.
So my next question for you is, what is one thing you want to give? What's one piece of advice you want to give to people who are entering your club?
I would say feel free to talk to us. You can email us whenever. We can be friends. So I know that usually with e-boards, there can be a disconnect between like club members and the e-board, and I don't want them to feel that way, that you can ask annoying questions, you can give me informal emails, it's fine. You don't even have to spell it correctly. I will accept anything. Yeah.
So I want to dive down. How do you feel personally about how the internship process is now?
There's the mainstream way and then there's my way that I don't think a lot of people do. I know the mainstream way is to go through Indeed or every other way. I know smart people go through the career center. I have never been that smart. I wish I was. So for me, my internships, I basically annoy someone, the employer, for months until I get it. Um, so there was one internship I did for the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission. I went to like a career fair that my college hosted, and this one person, she was packing up, and she was probably the EEOC like upstate, but I needed the person for the New York City office. So she gave me her card number, and I emailed her for 6 months until she gave me the name for the New York City office. And I got the interview. And while I was interviewing with that person, he's like, "How did you get my email? Like, that's not normal." I'm like, "I'm very dedicated." So a lot of my internships, it's usually that method of like harassing.
I mean, that's
people.
actually a pretty good way. I know I got my internship. I was sneaky about it because I had her as a professor before. So I'm like, hey, I heard you're hiring interns. Here's my resume.
A
And slid it to her
beauty,
that
building
way.
your own resume.
Yeah.
Okay, resumes in general make me feel uncomfortable because there's so many formats and I
Yeah.
never know what to do.
I hate resumes. I hate it. Because like you have to submit different resumes for different types of stuff. And like why
Yeah,
can't you just have one uniform resume for everything?
I know. I have to re-edit it. So basically, resumes, for someone who has never seen a resume in their life, there are different formats. You can make your name a different color, have like specific subheadings that are maybe in a different font. I don't know. You can go crazy, depending on like what your major is.
Yeah.
Depending on your major, you can also have different resumes,
And
depending
depending
on
on
how.
what you want to do as a career as well.
Exactly. Your personality has to show through so they know you. Um, and it's just difficult to like always keep your eye on it because it can be easy to apply for a job and just like shove your application. But employers do notice that like you're not like paying attention to it.
Yeah.
So when you look at the job description, find their keywords of what they use, like their adjectives or verbs. Like they want a detail oriented person. They want someone who takes initiative. You take those words and put them in your resume somewhere, and they'll be like, "Wow, this person is exactly what we want." So yeah, that is the struggle of trying to figure out your resume.
What do you think about cover letters?
Cover letters are interesting, mostly because I'm non-binary. So I will literally insert like, these are my pronouns, this is my gender, and please acknowledge me. And then I'll go into like why I want the job and everything. So they can respect me at the same time. And for each job, you have to change the content of your cover letter. And it's funny because each time you're gonna be like, I always wanted to work here. And it doesn't matter where it is. If you heard about it 2 weeks ago, it's like, this is my dream place to be.
Yeah. You gotta sprinkle in.
Yeah.
It seems fancy and like I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah. And these are the reasons. So that's, how about you?
For me, I like cover letters a little bit more than resumes because you got to go in depth, and I like going into in depth and stuff. But it still also irritates me because you can't do like one uniform cover letter and
Yeah.
submit it
If it
everywhere.
was a uniform one, that would have been nice. But
Yeah,
I feel like I get more stressed if I have to write a lot
I like
because
writing, so cover letters are a little bit better than me because I don't have as strict of a format as I do with resumes.
I love resumes. I rather just like type everything up in bullets.
I
Like,
hate
this is what
resumes
I need to say.
because to me, like resumes limit you to like just your achievements. Where the cover letter, you gotta express who you are, what you did with those stuff, and like it's more personal in my opinion. And as like someone who likes to write, I like doing that more.
Yeah, it's just sad because some employers don't even read that. They don't even read the cover letter. They'll just read the resume.
Yeah.
So also another trick, uh, if you're trying to come out on your cover letter and they don't read it, always put in your resume too, like add your pronouns to your
Oh, I never
resume.
even thought about that.
Yes. Because I've had situations where my employer just didn't read my cover letter, I'm hoping, when they misgendered me. So put your pronouns in your resume.
Yeah, like you've made me think about that, and that the fact that we don't do pronouns in our resumes. Like
Yeah.
I've been to like 101 resume workshops. and I've never heard, and like, as
Probably by
who's an
cisgender people.
advocate, like that stumped me that I never even thought about that. I feel being a non-binary person in the workplace.
It is. You just need another layer of skin. You just gotta like strap on some dead skin up here, like little gloves, throw your little fingers up, because the main thing that people say to you is to have patience, and that is the struggle that we have to deal with. A lot of people will say have patience. People are not familiar with pronouns. People are not familiar with this type of gender, and it kind of itches away at you. It's called a microaggression.
Mm-hmm.
A microaggression is not, it's kind of like an understep by being racist or sexist or anything. It's just like one little term that isn't meant to be hurtful, that doesn't have that intention, but it does hurt you.
Yeah.
And a lot of cisgendered people are people who are identified people as what they were, the sex they were assigned at birth. And they will say these microaggressions and assume that it's not bad, but it is. But because non-binary people, trans people are such a new topic to talk about, they think it's okay to say these things. So definitely, you just have to get the courage. You just have to get the courage to bring it up all the time. For me, I changed my Zoom name and my pronouns. I do that every single meeting. I say, hi, my name is Sagar. My pronouns are they, them. Every single meeting you have to do it. You always have to bring it up for people to be aware of it. And when an issue comes up, I know it's very hard to say in like the moment it happens. So maybe at the end of the day, like, hey, remember that thing that happened earlier today? Just so you know, these are your resources. If you have any questions on how to talk to me, I will really help you. I know it's an extra job that non-binary people have to deal with. And you personally don't have to take it. You don't have to put in that much effort. That's just like what I do to feel comfortable in my space. But I know for shy non-binary people and trans people, it is very difficult.
On the topic of workplace, what are your opinions on the after college getting a job scenario? Like how do you feel about how much work it takes to get a job after college?
So it depends where you are after college. Everyone can take what I say as a grain of salt. So basically, I'm a graduate student. I did my undergrad at SUNY Fredonia. I did my BA in criminal justice psychology. After I finished my undergrad, I took a year to apply to jobs. It was not fun. It was a lot of work, and I applied to so many different places, and I still didn't get anything because it was so competitive, and that's why I got into the graduate level of things, because I feel like a lot of the times undergrad degrees are equivalent to high school degrees, and it sucks, especially if you cannot afford a higher education. You already spent all your money on your undergrad. And some people just can't do loans. Like they don't want to be in debt for that long.
So you brought this up, and I'm curious to hear more about what you think about. What do you feel? How do you feel about the fact that a college degree is becoming synonymous with what a high school diploma was 30 years ago?
I feel like also education is more expensive. Education is more expensive. I think it's just sad because you get this degree and you assume that you're going to get job security. And by the time at the end of your senior year, you're so happy, you're hugging everyone, and people should have the security that by the end of 2 months or something, they'll get a job. And that should happen for everyone because they dedicated so much time and energy. And I feel like that should be a thing. It shouldn't be equivalent to a high school diploma or anything like that.
Yeah, I definitely am annoyed at the fact that for now almost every job is, even some fast food and like entry level jobs are requiring a college degree to even work there. Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just, It's so interesting. Also, minimum wage jobs. I feel like people don't talk about that a lot. Tell me about your undergrad experience, because I know in my master's, no one does minimum wage jobs, and I started out doing a minimum wage job. Is that common in the undergrad experience?
So for my undergraduate experience, I know a lot of people working in minimum wage jobs. Almost
Yeah,
everyone I know personally is doing a minimum wage job. Or there's
yeah.
some lucky ones who have got a high paying internship that they're using. But almost everyone has some form of job that they're doing.
I feel like minimum wage jobs should not, they should still be at the same level as any other job, and that if people are getting a minimum wage job, it's the struggle. If you're getting a higher education and you're helping people below you, you got to remember where you came from, and like um, change the environment of your workforce to realize that we have to care for everyone. We have to have empathy.
Yeah,
And
that's definitely one thing, in that a lot of people look down on fast food workers or minimum wage workers, and yet they have such a big demand for this stuff. Like, think about retail workers. They want to say, oh, like they'll come in on Thanksgiving or Black Friday and be like, oh, why are you working? It's a holiday.
why you here?
You're in the store though.
Just that, like, I mean, that's why I want to be like a policy analyst, like, because I know my roots. I do want to help people who like hire minimum wage, like create job security, people create affordable housing, because I understand that a lot of people have to go through this, and it's fine starting where you do start, and no one needs to try to do a full-time job while they're doing their education. Well, props to you, because I cannot do it.
Yeah. I hate the fact that college has gotten to the point where it's so expensive, where there are some people who have to sacrifice their education to get a job to try to pay for their education. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's just so sad, and I don't
Yeah.
care.
Like, I
Like,
saw a
I should
statistic the
pay
other
more
day.
effort.
I saw a
Ooh,
statistic
what
the
was
other
it?
day that said the prices of college had increased by, like, I think 70% from the time our grandparents went to college, while
Yeah,
minimum wage had increased by like 2%.
yeah. But like the boomers just want to say, I paid for my college. You can pay for your college. It's
And
like,
then
it
they don't
wasn't the
realize
same
how hard
price.
that actually is.
It wasn't the same price. The minimum wage was different.
Mhm.
And then also, where in New York State, in other places like Georgia, the minimum wage is $7. It's different everywhere. And then the education is still like at this huge price bracket. I'm like, no,
And it's like,
I just,
if you think about, like, for instance, Georgia's like $7. It's been $7 for like the longest. It probably increased from like $5 to $7 in the last 20 years.
yeah.
And college has increased from like 1,080 bucks to like 18,000 bucks.
Yeah, and it's really weird because students who all feel this way, they don't know who to contact within their administration on how to change this process. And I feel like the gap should be closed. Like, we should always know where resources, things should be easily changeable, not like, oh, we'll change it in 4 years when you're not around. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, since we're on this topic, I want your opinion on this now. What do you think about a free college system?
I love it because then everyone can get an education regardless of their class. And that people who are poor but are in bad home situations, they have the ability to get an education and leave. But then also, I think they would only cover undergrad. And then it would really be equivalent to a high school
Yeah.
diploma. So that is a con.
I mean, they're
But
already making a lot of steps to making it equivalent to high school diploma at the rate in
yeah,
which a lot of people are going for a college degree. it has become almost synonymous. So I don't really take that as a con. And plus, I think it will be really beneficial if they run it similar to the high school program, in which like there's public high schools and private high schools. There could be public colleges and private colleges.
Yeah, and I definitely think, I feel like poverty in itself would be eradicated faster if people were able to get an education, and that even within the public school system, there's such a strong segregation between races, and like the schools that people of color have to deal with are like
Yeah.
significantly worse educations. So it just, I feel like in college, you're not stuck. You're not segregated. Well, there is some segregation in college because people can't afford it.
Yeah.
That's the segregation.
Yeah, and also it's like the more people, I hate to say this, but the more with education, the more our political climate will change as well. Because as we see with people who go into college, college students are less likely, I won't say there are none, but they are less likely to be Republican, more likely to be Democratic, more likely to be progressive. And if more people were getting that same level education, we would see our entire political climate change as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree and disagree, because all of these colleges, there have been so much red tape against like people of color, that they only have administrative staff that is white. So a lot of them are racist, and they teach a lot of racist things. I've been in a lot of classes with racist professors who teach the wrong things. If they do teach about minorities, it is racist. So I think that the political climate would be different. People would be more educated on like certain topics, but I don't think it would like eradicate.
Oh no, it definitely wouldn't eradicate. It would cause a significant change, I think. Enough to change like the way America is as a whole, I think. Because
yeah,
America needs some major changes to it.
It does. It does. I just think, I'm trying to think about like all the colleges. If a college is in a democratic city, that would help. Like if a student decides to go to like a democratic college, because I went to SUNY Fredonia, I love it so much, but it was majority white, and they just didn't know how to deal with minorities. They don't know how to talk to minorities. It was just not. It was not it.
Yeah, I feel like if we make education more available, that would also change as well. That way, it can remove some of the racism in workplace, because now everyone has an access to a college degree, and hopefully that would allow that to change.
Yeah, it's the people who understand the diverse thoughts taking over those administrative spots and slowly making people aware of issues.
Yeah. So, do you have any other final notes you want to say?
So how long is this right now?
Don't
How
worry.
long are we talking? Okay. So basically, there were a few things that I wanted to say. We talked about a few of them. I think it's weird that entry-level jobs, that they want 10 years of experience.
Oh, yeah. That irritates me when I see like an entry-level job be like, oh, have 5 years of experience. Where am I supposed to get this experience from?
Yeah.
Or like I'll see a job that'll say, oh, please have prior fast food experience. How am I supposed to get prior fast food experience if I can't work at this fast food place?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's especially annoying, especially if the entry-level job is like $30,000.
Yeah.
And it's like super low, and even then it's competitive, and like you have a chance of not getting it at all, even though it's $30,000 a year. So that, and I understand that the people who are graduating, and that like they have been applying to places a lot. Like I noticed that this post-grad depression where they feel like they aren't adding up to like their achievements. And I feel like people should talk about it more and realize that like we are amazing. It's just the government's not doing enough to ensure job security.
Yeah, that's like a really big thing in that, especially in America. I see it mostly in America, that the workforce is so competitive that even for a base level job, you always feel like you have to be on edge and do everything the best. Like you could be the only person applying to this position, and yet you still feel like you have to compete for it, which I think
Yeah.
is a horrible system.
Yeah. There was an internship that I did. There was like no Indeed spot for it. They weren't at a job fair or anything. Like I just called multiple people within like this public government to see what internships they had. I was the only one applying. I did cover letter, resume. I researched the office for like 2 days. I was the only one who applied, and I was the only one intern for that office. But I still felt the need to research that much.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna close this off here. Bye.